Hi, I'm Elise, and today I am going to be talking about my Imagine project that I finished in Vision Tech. To start off with, I wanted to show the final product. I created a lion face by sketching out the face by hand using reference photos, and then scanning that into my computer, then uploading that into Illustrator using image trace to get kind of the detail that I wanted. Well, detail and also lack of detail in other sections. And then I used different brushes and different shapes to create the hair, and then added different textures to that and different shapes with the warp tool. So like I said, this is my final product. I'm pretty happy with it. I created all of it by hand, like I said, all these hairs and everything on individual layers and everything else, and then drew the hair out and this monocle in Illustrator, whereas the face was all done by hand and then used image trace. So if we go over here, this is the original lion face that I scanned into the computer. You can see it looks a little bit different than this Illustrator version of it. And that is because, like I said, I used image trace, so where you see all of these lines here, it kind of smoothed those out, made them more of a 2D, not sketched look, but more of just like a flat image. I chose to do this project because I am more familiar with Illustrator and Photoshop than I am with creating music videos or creating commercials and filming and that kind of stuff. So I wanted to stick to my strengths and stick to kind of things that I enjoyed doing. I completed this project, like I said, by using Illustrator and kind of putting my own artistic skill in with being able to kind of use this online program and all of these layers here. I'm going to actually close this one because that one has a lot inside of it. You can see on here that, let's take these ones off. If you look here, this is the original image that was image traced. When I put it in, it was all blacks and whites and gray after I image traced it, so I had to create color groupings and then make sure that those were the colors that I wanted to be all different parts of this face. The next hardest part was doing all of these individual hair pieces and then putting either, like this one, if you see, the actual image on here is curved, but the outline has it straight. That's because I put an effect on it, the flag effect under warp, to make it look more natural or realistic. And I had to do that with every single one of these hair pieces, and do that by hand. And I also had to adjust all of these outside pieces a lot to make sure that they kind of fit in as I was kind of moving out towards the edges of the picture with the hair. So I'll go ahead and put all of these back up so you can see what the final result was again, except not that one. Yeah, so this was what I did. To kind of create this, I had to use this brush tool so I could draw different things, mainly the hair and all that kind of stuff. Command Z, which is the erase or like undo, is your best friend in Illustrator, especially when you're drawing things out by hand with a brush. For this monocle, I'll highlight it, these pieces here, I had to use the width tool so you can see how it's thicker on this part and thinner on this part. This was drawn with a brush, so that wasn't as difficult, but this I had to kind of play around with the width and everything, and this I had to use a lot of warping and all that kind of stuff just so that I could get it to the shape I wanted to make it look more like that reflective type. It looks like there's a reflection on the glass. When I was doing this, I originally just drew all of the hair straight. and it looked like the lion had gotten electrocuted, which I really didn't like. So that's something that I needed to change, which is what I did by putting the effects on all of these individual hairs. The image trace worked well. I was able to find a style that I liked out of the different style options that they had. The monocle I thought turned out really well, and I really like the color balance between the face and what was put in the color group, and then the different colors that I used for the hair, as well as these lighter hairs that I put towards the front. It kind of makes him look a little bit older, but not necessarily elderly. So that's kind of my project. It was a lot of hours that I spent just kind of fine-tuning everything and making sure that everything looked the way I wanted it to, especially when I was initially drawing out the face. That took a really long time. It wasn't necessarily difficult, just because I was able to use different reference photos, and I was using a pencil, which made it easier, because then you can always erase. And with the hair, that was again just a lot of time consuming. It was a little bit frustrating to try and get the hair pieces to kind of line up where I wanted them to, so they weren't kind of showing up underneath inside of the face or anything like that, but to try and keep all that on the outside. I overall am very happy with how it turned out. I think that it looks how I wanted it to. It maybe even looks better than I imagined that it would. And so I'm very happy with this project as I'm sending it off to Imagine.